Hi, I'm Dr. Kamakshi, instructor for Excel VBA. In my last video, I have explained you a few shortcut keys or tips to move very quickly within a worksheet. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do cell referencing apart from maybe manipulating data from across the worksheets and workbooks. Okay, so this is the same workbook which I have used in my previous video. So I'm just going to delete everything from this worksheet. So by the way, you should see my first video where I have explained what is worksheet, workbook, and how to access the menus very quickly using shortcut keys on keyboard. So in this video, I'm just going to, it's a very quick video for a couple of minutes that explains about which demonstrates referencing the cell values or data, I can say. So data refers to numbers, text, images, videos, sounds, etc, etc. So by the way, I'm in the same worksheet which I have used in my previous video. I just wanted to delete the data inside this worksheet and do a new activity. How am I going to do that? So once again, I'm going to use shortcut buttons. That is Control A. So that selects the entire worksheet, all the cells. It includes all the cells in my selection. Then I just have to press delete button. That's all. So now to get the focus of the cursor to a particular cell, I just have to use cursor. It's not cursor button. In my previous video, I have pronounced it as a cursor button. It's an arrow button, right? I just have to use arrow buttons to get the focus back to my sheet. Now coming to the referencing, it is actually one of the dynamic activities inside Excel application. We can use this referencing concept or aspect for several of the data manipulation activities. I'll just take an example. For instance, how can I go to the very first beginning of the spreadsheets, which means the very first cell in the first row of a first column, Control Home. So it will take some time to get adapted to these shortcuts, but that's mandatory because you do at times we do gigantic things within very minimum time using these shortcut buttons. So to come to the very first, get the focus to the first or cursor to the very first beginning of the worksheet or the very first cell of the worksheet, you just have to use Control Home. And now let's say, for instance, I'm just going to quickly type some data, put some data inside my worksheet. That is going to be a series of numbers beginning from 1 to some 1. So 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter button. I'm just pressing. Okay, 5, enter. Now I got some data. So what is the address of the data? So the number 1. When you come to the very first cell, the address of the data is A1. You see the column name is A and row name is 1. So the address of this data is A1. Okay. Now when you come to the second cell, the address of the data is A2. It changed A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Or I can also come and say A, B, C, D, E. Now the address of this character A, see all characters are left justified and the numbers are right justified. That is a kind of, see, when I type the number, it is right side of the cell, and when I type the character, it is the left side of the cell. That is actually the convention in Excel sheet. You just don't need to be worried about why. Now what is the address of the A? Coming back to the concept, it is B1, B2, B3, B4. So what is in B5? It is E. Okay, now what is this referencing? Referencing is actually referring a value in certain cell. For instance, if I go here to C, maybe somewhere in C1, let me go to C1 and press A, okay, 1, you see automatically the focus goes to the address of the cell. So anywhere in the worksheet, I can just access the data from any cell using this cell reference. Or cell reference is just nothing but address of a cell, that's all. So what is the address of a cell in which I have value 1? That is A1. Okay, now say for instance I just wanted to add this 1 with 2. Okay, I'm just quickly getting into the calculations, which is actually I need to wait for a couple of sessions to explain you the numerical analysis. But anyway, this is not a significant analysis, and so I just wanted to add one with 2. Okay, where is the 2? 2 is in A2, right? 1 is in A1, 2 is in A2. So now when I shift, because in my computer the plus button is, I don't know, I'm just going to, yeah, it is working, but sometimes you have to use function shift in certain, even in my letter there is a function button. So shift, I just used the shift plus button. Plus is a special symbol, special characters row in the keyboard. Now let me use shift A. You don't need to use shift A, you can use A. Okay, that works. A, where is the 2? 2. You see now the focus goes down to. Now the first value is 1, which is in blue color, indicated by blue color. That is actually the advantage of the Excel, Microsoft Excel. And now the red color character is 2. So that way we can distinguish 2 of the values which are available from the 2 different cells. Now when I press enter, now I'm just going to hit the enter button. Now it is 3. So like this, for any characters we can just don't ask me like how am I going to add A plus A with B. That is not called adding. We cannot sum, but we can concatenate. That is string manipulation. That's a different thing. So in this way we can use the cell references or referencing in order to manipulate the data, carrying on some calculations or maybe concatenating the data in 2 different cells. So I will explain you the string, the functions, because I need to talk about a special concept called functions in Excel before I'm going to talk about the concatenation. I mean adding, keeping the characters together within a cell. That's a typical task, okay, which I'm going to. So this is how we can, it's easy to talk about the calculations, numerical calculations. That's why I just took. Now okay, fine. So I have explained you how to do a simple sum function. Okay, it's not a function actually. I just added 2 different values within a worksheet. Now what if I have another, say I'm using my mouse actually. I'm pressing this, I click this, I press this plus button in order to create, why it is sheet 5 is because in my last session I have created a series of worksheets like worksheet 2, 3, 4, 4. So that's why I deleted them. That's why when I'm creating a new sheet, it is showing me new sheet 5. There are ways to avoid that behavior. But anyway, it doesn't matter, Now here, I just wanted to add 2 of the numbers from my sheet 1. So this is a little bit interesting. So doing calculations within the worksheet is different from doing calculations between the worksheets. Okay, in between the worksheets. Now I'm going to carry on a calculation which I'm going to add 1 plus 2 in my worksheet number 1 in worksheet number 5. And this is a very simple task in this session, but the significance of this task can be understood in my forthcoming sessions when I'm going to talk about VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP functions, where we'll look up for a particular values or text from one sheet to the other sheet. Then we look for the values and characters in one sheet from the other sheet. So now, I know that now first what I do is I use the mouse, okay, and let's see what is the referencing thing that happens inside the worksheets. Now, as I have said, so I'm going to use equal to. Wherever I put equals symbol, Excel understands that I'm just going to I'm going to do some formula activity. So it is expecting a formula from me, a calculation. Okay. Now use your mouse button, go to the sheet 1 and press on 1. Now come back to sheet 5. You will see an interesting information in the first cell. What is that? It's showing that sheet 1 exclamation A1. So that is how Excel refers the cell in a different sheet 1 A1. Now let me write it plus, I will write this time, I'm not going to use my sheet 1, okay, exclamation. Now A2, okay, I don't know why it is not actually highlighting. Sheet 5, I'm sorry, it's not sheet 5, it should be sheet 1, right? Okay, let me wait, I'm sure it is not correct. It is not 5, it is should be 1. I am doing it manually. Only to sheet 3. Did you find that? So now, so when I'm, so it is possible for me. For instance, let me add the values which are available from the A4 and A5. Okay, so what I should do is equal to sheet 1, okay, exclamation A4 plus sheet 1 exclamation A5. So that should be 9. I don't know why 9. Yeah, 4 plus 5, 9. So this is how it's going, it works. Okay, so why I used a mouse previously is because I didn't know for sure how Excel is going to refer the address and how it's going to identify the address of a value in another sheet. That's why I use the same thing I'm going to do now next time. So this is how we carry on with this is what is called, this is how we use referencing cell address, which means the idea of using the addresses of different cells when we are manipulating the data or when we are doing something with the data. Now what I do, I'll just do one interesting thing. I'll create another book. Okay, this is a book 1. Don't know what is the, yeah, you see here it is book 1 Excel, right? Now, so how am I going to access the file menu? Alt. Okay, now F is highlighted, F. Now you see I'll come, there is something called N. Now I have to press enter. Okay, I think I cannot press enter. I should use arrow button, right arrow and enter. Now you see book 3. Why it is book 3? Because I already created book 2 and then deleted it, closed it. So that's why I have, you see, I'm using tab, I think alt tab buttons. I still keep pressing alt tab. So as long as my finger is on alt tab and it is pressed, I can see all the windows in the opened windows in Windows operating system. Now whenever I press tab button, I'll be moving across the windows. If I want to go back, I'm going forward, right? If I want to go back, I should keep pressing the tab alt button, press left arrow button, right left. This is freeway and you have the freedom to choose which. So I want to go back to my book 3, no, go back to book 1, release alt button, I'm in the book 1. Now alt tab button, I'm still keep, my finger is on alt button and alt button is pressed, and now I can come back to the book 3. Now if I release the alt button, I'm the book 3. Now what I do, I press, I want to carry on some calculations in book 3. My values are in book 1. Please be cautious. My values are in book 1. So I want to add the first two values 1 and 2, A1, 1, A2, addresses of the cells. The address of the cell which contains 1 is A1, address of the cell which contains a value 2 is A2. Okay, I just want to do that calculation in book number 3, but my values are in book number 1. Okay, now what I do, I don't know how to do that. Perhaps probably Excel uses some workbook 1, workbook 3, sheet 1, sheet like that. I don't remember. So what I do, I'm just going to use my mouse. So how am I going to do? Is equal to in book 3, which is my fresh workbook. I press is equal to, now Excel is alert, so it assumes that I'm just going to input some, I'm going to do some calculation, or maybe we call it as formulas. So it is expecting a formula from me. Now I take the cursor, okay, go back to book 1, now come to sheet 1, select this value. You see here within the brackets, book 1, sheet 1, exclamation, you see there is a $sign, $1. So this is the way Excel expects a value across the books. Earlier it was sheet 1 exclamation no dollar sign. What dollar sign has a specific you know a meaning that we'll discuss later. Okay, it is called the consist deterministic selection. So you're not going to change. I am telling Excel that just to focus on this cell. That is what dollar sign refers. I'll just talk to you later after some time. Now when I press enter, we'll come back to book 3. Now that value had come here. Okay. Now what is this? You say here this is. So this value is coming from sheet 1 of book 1. Now let me copy this, Control C. I'll go back to, I'm going to edit my, so I'm going to edit my, so how can I edit my cell data? By using F2 function button, which is at top of the keyboard. You have F1, F2, F3, F4, these are called function buttons. In my laptop, if I press F2, I'm telling Excel, let me edit the values in this. Now press 1, Control V, Control C, Control V. I just copied. Now it is not going to be equal to. Okay. Now book 1, sheet 1, A2. No, should be from A2. So now let us see. In book 1, sheet 1, A1 value plus book 1, sheet 1, A2 value. Now let me press enter. Now it is 3. So that's how cell referencing can be used for data manipulation in Excel sheets within the workbook, across the workbooks. So this is for this session. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned for the new content. Bye bye all of you.